budget documents rather than the rhetoric. That's the foundation.
I call Todd McClay.
Thank you. It gives me pleasure to rise and speak on the Finance Appropriation Estimate Bill debate. Can I say that there, Mr Chairman, was the real opposition, the real leader of the opposition, that great Australian Russell Norman. He's the one that's standing up and speaking up for everyday New Zealanders, at least as far as he says. And here's the problem, you see, Mr Speaker. What's happened in this last budget is this government, led by Prime Minister John Key and with our Minister of Finance, Bill English, has delivered a budget to New Zealand that focuses on responsible management of government finances and on how to make the engine that is New Zealand go faster, how to make it grow and grow faster. So what we've seen in the last week or two is the Labor Party rebranding itself, grabbing great, strong National Party government policies and saying, we'll have a little bit of that as well. So what have we heard from them? They're in favour of mining. In fact, they want to do more mining. It's good that they've finally woken up to that, because before the budget they were saying, we don't want New Zealanders to go to, we don't mind New Zealanders going to Australia to work in mines, but they can't be doing that here. Well, everyday New Zealanders want to work hard, they want to stay in their own country, and they want good jobs, and this government is focused on finding the very best way to balance the environment with mining so our economy can grow. So Labor's saying they want more mining. The real opposition, that great leader of the opposition, that great Australian Russell Norman, is saying he's not opposed to mining, just never found a mine that he agrees with. So no problem, we don't mind mines, but we don't like any of the ones that are here or any that's proposed. We've also heard from the Labor Party that they're now in favour of reducing debt. They don't like borrowing anymore, they're in favour of reducing debt. The problem with that is before the last election and before this budget was delivered, they said no problem with getting some more debt, we can pay it off sometime in the future. Well, here's the difficulty. The real opposition, that great Australian, the leader of the opposition, Russell Norman, is saying that debt is fine. Mr Speaker, let's tax New Zealanders more. Mr Chairman, let's tax New Zealanders more. Let's go out and borrow a lot more and spend it on lots of things for New Zealanders, but let's not find a single way to grow the economy, to grow ways that the government can get more resource and to make our economy stronger and better. And then finally, what's happened, the Labor Party has said they too now accept that we should get back to surplus by 2014-15. It's their policy. They've said they believe the government will do it or thereabouts, and that's something that they too would do. Before the last budget, that wasn't their policy at all. Certainly before the last election, Mr Speaker, Mr Chairman, they were saying borrow a lot more money, make a lot of rash decisions around spending, make New Zealanders work longer and harder to pay that back into the future, but now they've changed their position, getting back to surplus 2014-15, that's acceptable to them. The problem they've got on the other side is the real opposition, that great Australian Russell Norman, who's the leader of the opposition, is actually saying that it's not about going back to surplus then, it's about borrowing more money, spending more money, racking up debt on behalf of New Zealanders, and then finally, sometime in the future, we'll pay this off. Now, the reason I raise this, Mr Chairman, is because our budget and focusing on finance delivers better, more competitive and productive economy for New Zealanders. We've heard others in this debate today, refer to the John Key, John Banks government. Well, I'm going to tell you, based upon what we've heard from the opposition, I'd rather have that, and I'd rather have John Banks any day than a Russell Norman, David Shearer, Honi Harawira government, which is what the opposition parties are pitching to us. So it's fine for the Labor opposition to say, at the next election, we've changed our position. We'll have more mining, we'll have less debt, less borrowing, and we'll certainly get back to surplus sooner, but the people they'll have to do a deal with to try and form a government in New Zealand are that great Australian, the real leader of the opposition, Russell Norman, and Honi Harawira, who have different policies across the board, who won't accept that at all, Mr Speaker. So on this side of the House, we're focused on what matters, and I say it again, give me John Banks any day over some of the others that lot over there will have to cast their lot in with come the next election. And I look forward to the debate that we'll have as we go forward and to hear from the Labour opposition what their position is on water in New Zealand, whether they back some of the claims that are being made around the country. Bet you we're not going to hear anything about that, Mr Chairman, at all. Now, delivering better public services, something the opposition hates. They hate us doing better with the money that we are entrusted and spend on behalf of New Zealanders. Well, the budget that has been delivered by Bill English does that. It focuses on better public service for New Zealanders, rebuilding Christchurch, building a more competitive economy. Thank you.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Chairman, well, we've heard